guys! On my last video, one of the requests I saw pop up quite a few times were different suggestions for pies and tarts. And because I just made fig tarts not that long ago, I decided to make something that was similar but not quite a tart. So today we're making this apple cake. And if you want to make this with a more traditional pie or tart crust, you can definitely do that as well. So let's get started. You want to start off with a light dough color, then roll out and stack a few sheets until you get the height you want for the cake. And you then want to take a round cookie cutter and cut out the size of the cake you want. Next we're going to be working on the apples, and for this I used a mix which is basically the same as the light dough color but with more yellow and more translucent. Roll out a snake and then flatten it to get kind of like a half circle shape. And then use your blade to cut off the wedges. We can then place them onto the cake itself, and for this I first used a pointy dotting tool to make kind of like an indentation, and then place the apple wedges on top. The reason why I'm pushing down the clay before placing the wedges is because this cake has a cake batter base, and so you want it to look like the apples actually sunk into the dough while baking, rather than just sitting on top. This is mostly going to be visible if you're going to be cutting a slice of the cake though, so if you're not going to be cutting any slices, you don't necessarily have to do this. I also just want to quickly apologize for being away for the past, I think maybe 2 weeks, and one of the main reasons was the fact that YouTube for the past few weeks has been insert bad word of your choice, and so I wasn't able to prioritize this channel. The good thing is that I can promise you that there will be another video this week. I have recorded most of it and it will be up this weekend. Then for the texture, I first used a toothbrush all over the cake portion. And I then used a needle tool to add all the little bumps and crevices. I'd also like to ask you if you prefer having a certain upload date on this channel, because no matter what, I'll be able to pre-record it if I don't have time to record it on that certain day. So let me know if you prefer having one specific day of the week where I upload, or if you don't really care as to when I'm uploading. And then for the texture on the apples, I first use a toothbrush followed by a pointy dotting tool. Whilst adding the texture, if we can just take a second to go back to the whole YouTube thing, I don't want to go into too much detail because honestly I don't think any creator really knows exactly what is going on, but basically YouTube has been doing a lot of changes, most of which so far at least haven't really had a positive effect on anyone, at least not that I know of. And basically, though I know I've mentioned it in previous videos, if you enjoyed these videos and want to see more and want to make sure that I can keep posting on this channel, please don't skip any of the videos. The fact that you take the time to watch it and click the thumbs up and leave a comment really makes a huge difference. If you want, you can then cut a slice and then add some texture to the inside. For this, I just used a needle tool. There is going to be some longer gaps of silence in the voiceover of this video because there is going to be a lot of texturing and shading, and as you know, I try not to skip too much of the footage because I know a lot of you enjoy seeing a more detailed view of the process, so please do forgive the more silent parts. After baking, you can add some shading. For this, I first used some soft pastels and I applied these with a damp brush. I first applied 2 of the lighter shades and then sealed it with a matte glaze to protect the pastel. If you have questions about any of the tools and materials you see in my videos, I do have a video about it which I always link in the info box. In the info box you'll also find a link to a video about baking from my main channel and all sorts of other good stuff. Next up, I added some shading using acrylic paint, and I used 2 different colors. For the first part, I mixed the 2 colors to get this kind of nice caramelized buttery color. And when you see me doing the second swatch, I am using the raw sienna on its own. I then went back in with the soft pastels and added some more shading. Once again, you want to seal it with matte glaze to protect the pastel. If you're only using the paint on top of the pastel after sealing it the first time, you don't have to apply a second coat. And then to make it look less dried out, we're just going to be adding some gloss glaze on top. For this next step, I decided to mix up some resin, and then I mixed in the same colors of acrylic paint we used for the shading. This is just a simple way to create a more sticky, toffee-like layer on top, and then I also mixed in some white sand to create a sugary texture. And then for the cake slice as well as the inside of the cake, you want to make sure to add some of this to the center portion, just to once again make it look like the apples and the sugar has really sunken into the dough. Then let that set, and you're done.